So one of the things that I've been asked is, how do you choose your first set of hand carders? And one of the things you have to consider right out of the chute is, do you like lace yarns? Do you like really fine yarns? Or do you like sport weight or DK weight yarns? What tugs at your heart? Because if you get a set of hand cards that's 56 point, they're not going to handle those fine fibers as well as a 72 point or 112 point set of hand cards. So basically you have to think about the kind of yarn you want to spin, and that'll help you decide what size of hand cards that you should size, what number of points on those hand cards you want to buy for yourself. So if you want a really fine yarn, you're going to want to gravitate towards 112 point cards. If you're going to be spinning medium weight fibers, then you're going to probably choose 72 point, and then thicker fibers, you're going to choose the ones similar to what I have, which are 56 point. When I purchased this set of hand cards in our area, just about the only breeds that were raised were Romney and Suffolk. And these hand cards dealt with those because Romney is a thicker fiber. These hand cards dealt with those really, really well. But when I started moving into other breeds, once they became available, a whole world opened up. You could buy Corriedale, you could buy Bond, you could buy Polworth. That is when I went and I purchased 72 point and 112 point hand cards, because these did not serve me as well any longer. They were, they didn't open up the fiber quite as quickly, they weren't as efficient. So if you buy the right number of points for the size of fiber you're wanting to work with, it becomes a really efficient, really good tool for you. So another thing a lot of people try and decide about is they love combed fiber. They love those nice smooth yarns that just spin like butter, and wool combs gives you that kind of fiber prep. But the set of wool combs that I demonstrated on earlier cost close to $500. That's a lot of money to put into a piece of equipment. The other thing with respect to wool combs compared to carding equipment is there's a lot of waste. So you have to decide, am I going to take that waste? Am I going to comb it? What am I going to do with it? Or are you just going to toss it? That's something you have to weigh for yourself. But with a set of hand cards, they're a really good tool. They're a very well-rounded tool, and they can be used in a lot of different ways. You can use them to spin, as I showed you. You can make the bats, you can make rovings, and the dizzed roving off a set of hand cards is very similar in how it spins compared to roving that comes off of your wool combs. The only difference is if you need to take the trash out, because the wool combs do that for you. The hand cards won't do that. So if you want that really nice fiber prep, you need to take the trash out of the butt and the tip. And then the other difference that you'll have is the carded fiber will have more different lengths of fiber within it, whereas the comb fiber has more of the longer lengths. It's removed the shorter lengths. And what that makes a difference for, or it makes a difference to you as a spinner, those longer lengths are what gives your yarn strength. When you have shorter lengths, your yarn is a little bit weaker. But there are different ways we can compensate for that. You can add more twist, you can have multi-plies. There are ways around that, ways you can work with that. So I think if you were going to choose one set of, would it be combs or hand cards, I think a really good starting tool is hand cards. And you can use them to dizz off your roving. And the nice thing about dizzing is just the dizzing action is teaching you about drafting. So when you go to the wheel and you're drafting your fiber, your hands are practicing that when you're dizzing. So the hand cards will give you that practice for dizzing, and it's also going to give you a beautiful fiber prep if you want to dizz your fiber off. And if you decide you want to play around with rolags, well, you have the hand cards, and you can try rolags, and you can try woolen spinning. So they're a very versatile tool. A lot of spinners sort of put them away, put them aside when other things came out like wool combs and blending boards. But really, if I had to choose one piece of equipment that was in my stable, so to speak, it would be hand cards.